What if the strangest part of human history is hidden inside you? Not inside a museum, not beneath an ancient temple, but deep within your own bloodline. Some people experience an unexplainable connection to forgotten places, recurring dreams of cities they have never visited, or a strange emotional pull towards symbols, languages, and traditions far older than recorded history. According to certain researchers, genetic studies, and ancient Vedic texts, these experiences may not be random at all. What if some families alive today still carry fragments of a civilization the world completely forgot? A civilization erased by war, flood, catastrophe, or time itself. Tonight we explore 7 disturbing signs your ancestors may have belonged to a lost civilization, and by the end of this video, you may begin questioning your own history in ways you never expected. Because Hidden History India is filled with unexplained mysteries that continue challenging everything we think we know about the ancient world. Long before modern nations existed, ancient Indian texts spoke about forgotten ages called yugas. These texts described advanced kingdoms, powerful weapons, flying machines known as vimanas, and massive cities destroyed by catastrophic events. Most people dismiss these stories as mythology, but what if mythology is simply history that survived in symbolic form? What if fragments of those ancient civilizations still exist inside certain bloodlines today? The first sign is feeling an emotional connection to ancient places that seems impossible to explain logically. Some people visit ancient ruins, temples, or historical sites and experience overwhelming emotions that go far beyond curiosity or admiration. They feel goosebumps, anxiety, sadness, familiarity, or even the strange sensation of returning somewhere they once belonged. Visitors to places like Dholavira or the ancient ruins of Hampi often describe emotions so powerful, they struggle to explain them afterward. Psychologists may describe these reactions as emotional projection, but ancient traditions believed memory could travel through bloodlines. Modern science has explored something surprisingly similar through epigenetics, which studies how experiences and trauma may leave biological effects on future generations. Imagine your ancestors surviving the collapse of a civilization thousands of years ago, escaping floods, invasions, famine, or destruction, while carrying unimaginable fear and grief. Could faint echoes of those experiences still survive inside descendants today? Maybe that strange emotional reaction near ancient ruins is not imagination at all. Maybe part of you recognizes something your conscious mind cannot fully understand. The second sign is recurring dreams about places you have never seen before in your life. Across the world, people describe dreams involving ancient stone cities, underground chambers, giant staircases, temples beneath the stars, or massive libraries filled with forgotten knowledge. What makes these stories unsettling is the level of detail many people remember. Some individuals later discover that symbols or structures from their dreams resemble real archaeological sites or ancient cultures they had never studied previously. Carl Jung once suggested humanity may share something called the collective unconscious, a hidden layer of inherited memory and symbolism existing beneath conscious awareness. Ancient Indian philosophy spoke about similar ideas thousands of years earlier, describing consciousness as something capable of carrying impressions beyond a single lifetime. Now imagine recurring dreams, not as random stories created by the brain, but as fragments of inherited memory, surviving across generations. Some people feel emotionally connected to oceans, despite never living near water, while others experience fear around caves, tunnels, or underground spaces for reasons they cannot explain logically. Many become deeply fascinated with lost civilizations, long before studying history academically. Perhaps certain bloodlines still carry emotional echoes from ancient worlds erased from official history. Maybe some dreams are not imagination, but distant memories surviving through time. The third sign involves unusual genetic markers connected to ancient human migrations. Modern genetics has uncovered mysteries historians still struggle to explain. Scientists studying ancient DNA discovered surprising links between populations separated by enormous distances and thousands of years. Certain Indian lineages contain markers tracing back to some of the oldest human settlements on Earth, leading researchers to believe parts of the Indian subcontinent preserved extremely ancient genetic continuity. Ancient Indian texts repeatedly described floods, collapsing kingdoms, migrations, and survivors rebuilding civilization after catastrophic events. For centuries, these stories were dismissed as legends, but geological evidence now confirms ancient sea level rises and submerged coastal settlements existed thousands of years ago. Underwater ruins connected to Dwarka continue fueling debates about forgotten ancient cities swallowed by the sea. Imagine entire populations escaping destroyed civilizations and slowly blending into future societies. Their languages changed, their cultures evolved, and their identities disappeared across centuries, but traces remained hidden inside DNA. Some researchers believe humanity may know far less about prehistoric civilization than previously imagined. If lost civilizations truly existed, their descendants may still walk among us today without realizing the true age of their ancestry. The fourth sign is feeling deeply attracted toward ancient symbols or patterns you were never taught to understand. Across civilizations worldwide, certain symbols appear repeatedly throughout history, including spirals, sacred geometry, serpent imagery, sun wheels, mandalas, and cosmic patterns. Historians often describe this as coincidence or parallel development, but many people experience emotional reactions toward these symbols long before learning their meanings. Children sometimes draw ancient-looking patterns without understanding where the images originated. Others become fascinated with sacred geometry, forgotten alphabets, or spiritual symbols despite growing up disconnected from those traditions entirely. In Vedic teachings, symbols represented much more than decoration. They were considered maps of consciousness, energy, cosmic cycles, and spiritual knowledge meant to preserve understanding across generations. Now imagine descendants carrying faint cultural memories through thousands of years of migration, war, and historical collapse. Could certain symbols trigger subconscious recognition buried deep within the mind? Could ancient civilizations have intentionally preserved knowledge through symbolic systems designed to survive long after written language disappeared? Maybe some symbols affect people so strongly because they are connected to memories older than recorded history itself. The fifth sign is feeling disconnected from modern society in a strangely ancient way. Many people today describe an uncomfortable feeling that modern civilization has become spiritually empty, emotionally disconnected, and separated from nature. While this experience can happen for many reasons, some individuals feel it with unusual intensity. They become naturally drawn toward old traditions, ancient philosophy, astronomy, forgotten rituals, meditation, or historical wisdom, despite growing up in completely modern environments. Ancient Indian civilization emphasized harmony between nature, consciousness, astronomy, and human life. Vedic teachings often described humanity as part of a larger cosmic rhythm, rather than isolated individuals trapped inside endless distraction and materialism. Compare that worldview with the modern world dominated by noise, screens, stress, artificial environments, and constant stimulation. Perhaps the discomfort certain people feel today is not simply dissatisfaction with modern life. Maybe it is inherited memory reminding them humanity once lived differently. There is a reason ancient ruins create such emotional reactions in many individuals. They represent something humanity lost along the way. For some bloodlines, that loss may feel strangely personal, as if they are mourning a forgotten world they somehow still remember emotionally. The sixth sign is possessing an instinctive fear or fascination with catastrophe myths. Nearly every civilization on Earth preserved stories about floods, burning skies, falling stars, vanished kingdoms, or massive destruction wiping out entire populations. The disturbing part is how similar many of these stories remain, despite cultures being separated by oceans and continents. Ancient Indian traditions described repeating cycles of destruction ending entire ages before civilization eventually rose again. Modern researchers now believe some of these myths may preserve memories of real prehistoric disasters, including meteor impacts, volcanic winters, tsunamis, and rapid sea level rise after the Ice Age. Trauma leaves psychological scars on families for generations, so what happens when entire civilizations experience catastrophic collapse? Some people possess irrational fears connected to water, darkness, fire, or the sky, without understanding why. Others become deeply obsessed with apocalypse theories, survival stories, or ancient catastrophes, despite having no direct connection to those subjects. Maybe somewhere inside the subconscious mind, descendants still carry faint echoes of survival instincts passed down from ancestors who witnessed the destruction of their world thousands of years ago. The seventh and final sign is constantly feeling that history itself is incomplete. Around the world, more people are questioning official timelines, unexplained archaeological discoveries, ancient anomalies, and structures historians still struggle to explain fully. What makes this interesting is how emotionally personal these mysteries feel to certain individuals. It does not feel like simple curiosity. It feels like searching for missing pieces connected to something deeply familiar. India stands at the center of many of these unexplained mysteries. From the submerged ruins linked to Dwarka, to the impossible architecture of Kailasa temple, carved directly from solid rock, ancient history often appears far stranger than mainstream explanations suggest. Many people believe survivors from forgotten civilizations intentionally preserved fragments of knowledge inside myths, bloodlines, symbols, and spiritual traditions, so future generations could rediscover them someday. Think about how easily history disappears. Libraries burn, cities sink beneath oceans, languages vanish, and empires collapse into dust. Yet bloodlines continue surviving across centuries. A person alive today may unknowingly carry ancestry connected to civilizations historians never fully recorded. Perhaps ancient cultures understood this better than modern society does. Maybe that is why so many traditions emphasize lineage, memory, and sacred transmission of knowledge. Because when you examine the ancient world honestly, the gaps become impossible to ignore. Why do civilizations across the planet describe similar catastrophes? Why do ancient myths repeatedly mention earlier lost ages of humanity? Why do certain archaeological discoveries continue challenging conventional understanding? And why do some people experience emotional reactions to ancient places, so powerful they feel almost ancestral? Maybe civilization rises and falls repeatedly across thousands of years, leaving behind ruins, legends, symbols, and descendants, carrying fragments of forgotten memory. If that possibility is true, modern civilization may not be humanity's first advanced world, but simply the latest chapter in a much older story. So the next time you feel strangely connected to ancient places, emotionally affected by hidden history, or fascinated by mysteries older than recorded civilization, ask yourself one unsettling question. What if it is not random at all? What if your blood carries traces of a forgotten civilization that vanished from history, but never disappeared completely?